Hey, Mistakes listeners, this is Dave, and sorry that we missed you for a week, but we are so glad to be back, and we're very glad you tuned in. Hey, this week we watched the Netflix show Dinotrux, and actually had a couple of differing opinions here, so you got to stay tuned and find out which way we went. Did I go this way? Did I go that way? Possibly different ways, possibly the same way. Who knows? Anyway, this episode was recorded on 9/29/2015, so fresh off the presses. This is episode 25. As you know, we have social media. You can follow us on Twitter at Parent Mistakes, and you can like us on Facebook at Parenting Mistakes. Sit back and you know what to do. Enjoy the show. So we were off for a week. Is that correct?
I believe it was a week. Yes.
Feels like a month, does it not? Because man, it has been so busy. Why has it been so busy? It's been so busy because I have kids actually going to legitimate public school now, and there is so many things going on. It is insane, and it's been quite a bit of parenting. You know, the kid now is going to 6 hours of school a day, right? So that is a complete transition for obviously me, and a transition for sister, and a transition for older sister who is now going to 6 hours of school. Older sister who keeps on reminding me at any given moment, hey Dad, so she got a half day of school last week, which was 4 hours, and she keeps on waking up in the morning. First question out of her mouth is, Dad, is today a 4-hour day or a 6-hour day, right? And she's like got her fingers out. She's calculating because she's like, I don't know, Dad. 6 hours is a long time. And she says to me, she's got a bunch of different options for me. She's like, can we work this out, Dad? Can I do like maybe, okay, I got a number. She basically said, I got a number in my head, and I know that you've got a number in your head, Dad, and I think that my number is 4 and your number is 6. Yes, Kaylee. I think that we should do my number over your number. She will do whatever it takes. She's just not ready for the high impact of school. I mean, we went to preschool, and preschool was never more than, say, 2.5 hours. And so it is a big deal for this kid to really just get exhausted. And I have to tell you that I'm actually pretty exhausted in the whole event in itself. I'm sure you remember a lot of this, right? Your first couple of days of school, right?
No.
You don't remember none of it?
No.
Really?
Well, in an abstract sense, yes.
Yeah.
But what I find is that as you get older, some of those previous time periods sort of fade into the background because you're so consumed with the current time period.
The current time period. Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm glad I'm then saying it in this podcast because we need to cement this crazy time. Because I bet you're right. I bet there are a lot of parents that do forget a lot of these different phases. Although, when this day and age, we are constantly recording everything, right? My wife and I are bringing my daughter into her first day at kindergarten, and we've got the cell phone chasing her in, right? So that we can actually kind of repeat that.
Wow, you're that parent.
It's not like we got a camcorder or Super 8 or something like that. It's not like a big
know.
Hollywood production. Steven Spielberg is not there filming this event, right? But there is an element of, hey, you know, I kind of want to watch this occur because I don't want to forget it.
Sure.
Right?
I understand.
Yeah, and I'm not, well, I'm not going to be weird, start watching it.
Too late.
I'm like 62. I remember the first day of kindergarten, and I'm going to hit that repeat button all the time. Although, at the end of the day, I guess who is that video for? I suppose Kayleen will find that video entertaining at some point, right?
Yes.
Yes.
She will.
She will. Okay.
Yes.
But what you're saying
is as will you.
Okay. But in your life, you've recorded none of your children.
No, I have.
Oh, so you are that parent.
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
I didn't follow him into kindergarten with a camcorder or anything like that.
We all have iPhones, dude. Right? We all have these sophisticated pieces of technology. They're freaking tricorders for crying out loud, right?
Yeah,
they do everything.
I know.
You know, we went to Fort Casey this weekend. You know, Fort Casey, and we're in
I
the
do.
forts. And I'm like, I don't have a flashlight. My wife's like, so you have a flashlight? It's on your phone, right? Like, it's got everything. It's crazy.
You're not supposed to use a flashlight at Fort Casey. You're supposed to just go in the dark and just go through.
Right.
That's what we did.
Well,
We were in high school.
But we now have the technology to illuminate the situation.
Okay.
Yes.
Fine.
So it's actually good to be back, right?
It is.
Here in podcast land. Where have you been? I mean, it's not my fault that we haven't had a show in about a week, right?
Well, you can't throw your co-host under the bus. It's not the way it works.
You already threw me under the bus. You
No,
already called me weirdo. Hey,
Well,
weirdo.
You are, but that's okay. Well,
what's the reverse of throwing someone under the bus? Is it saving? What is, like, if I want to get you back from under the bus? What is that?
I have no idea. I don't think there's a visual representation there.
I life ringed you from the bus, right? I threw you. He was almost under the bus, and I threw him a life ring, and now
There you go.
And I life ringed you. That's what we'll call it, right?
Yes.
A life saver, bus saver,
right.
Life bus saver.
Should we do an awkward transition?
Well, no, you haven't told us where you've been. What's going on?
I've been busy. I've been
You've
busy.
been busy.
I've been working. I've been teaching a couple extra classes. So
Oh my goodness.
work gets in the way of other things sometimes.
Yeah. So
sometimes you have to clear the rubble out of your life.
You do, right? The bus could possibly be a dinosaur. That's terrible.
Yeah, that's terrible. I told you we need an awkward transition sound effect.
No, we don't. Let it go, my friend.
All right.
I don't know. It's just good to see you. I'm glad to see you.
Well, I'm glad to see me too.
Yeah.
Oh wait.
Or hear you. Hear you.
All right. What did we watch?
I watched a show called Dinotrux.
As did I.
Yeah. Did you
All
do
right.
the homework on it?
I did. So, should I tell people about this?
I hope so.
Okay, so this is a computer-animated television series made in America. It is based on some children's book series, a children's book series, and now it is a TV show, and there are some toys that go with it. So the basic plot here is that we are in the Mechazoic era.
Oh, I didn't catch that. When I read that, I was like, oh, they kind of went with a boring era.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
man.
we're in the Mechazoic era.
That's right. I need to sound things out. Okay.
So what we have here is the main characters are these hybrid dinosaur construction vehicles.
Right.
So they're construction vehicles, but they are shaped like dinosaurs and they talk.
Right.
And then there are these little lizard things running around, little reptiles, which
Reptools.
are called reptools.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. I'm like,
Yeah.
not reptiles, reptools.
Reptools, that's what they're actually called.
Right.
And one of them has like a screwdriver on his head, and the other one has like a ratchet, and then they go around and apparently fix the dinosaurs. Why there are dinosaur construction vehicles is not explained to us. It's sort of like they took Rescue Heroes and Mighty Machines and Transformers and slammed them all together into a kids show. Except that they don't transform.
Yeah, I would hesitate calling them Transformers. Clearly, these are, trucks and dinosaurs, very popular amongst a certain crowd.
Apparently.
Yes.
So the basic plot is that there's the protagonist group of Dinotrux, and then there is the antagonist, an evil Tyrannosaurus Trux named
Destructs.
Yes.
If you didn't get that, it was Destructs.
Destructs.
Right.
D-Strux.
Okay, yeah.
I'm just reading the description here, so we got to make sure that we have it grammatically correct.
Right. It's Tie Trucks and Destructs.
Yes.
Tie Trucks is
All right.
the good truck Tyrannosaurus. Trucks
Yes.
Tyrannosaurus.
Tyrannosaurus Trux.
There you go, Tyrannosaurus Trucks.
Yes. All right. Your reaction.
So here's the deal. I was thinking about this show today, and I was thinking, the only way to come at this show is to actually kind of say, what didn't you like? Because I loved every aspect of this show. I really did.
Really?
Yeah, I really did. I really did. It's okay. Again, I'm trying to reel it in, Todd. I promise you, I try to, because the deal is, my bent is always like, is it entertaining? It's not incredibly entertaining, but you always come in with the perspective of a parent, and I'm also like trying to give that perspective of as a kid. If I was 5 or 6, why wouldn't I watch this show? This show is got everything I could ever want in a show, right? And not only that, but again, it always comes down to effort, right? I feel like there's a lot of effort placed in this show, and I'd be surprised if you kind of like poo-poo this show. Is that your perspective? I mean, we can get into it. We will get into it. But I would really be surprised if you came in and saying, Dinotrux is not so good, right?
Well, then you should brace yourself and prepare to be surprised.
You gotta be kidding me. You
No.
gotta be kidding me.
No, we'll get to that in a second, so
Oh
keep going.
my gosh. Wow. Okay, well, all right, fine. What's not to like? Basically, so, again, you've got a plot that I felt was like right on. It's not incredibly complicated, right? And there's actually a lot of things happening. There's a storm that happens in the evening before where the trucks are kind of dealing with that. So the storm makes basically a tree fall over a trail. So basically they have to come together and figure out how to get these trees removed so that they continue to use this trail. And Dinotrux is there, and Dinotrux is trying to do nefarious things. But all that to say, so I'm trying to think here. So you've got, what is the name of that little tool?
Oh, that's a good question.
What's the name of that little tool? You know, someone looking it up. It was the rep tool, Rotilian rep tool.
Yeah, there's
part
a number
chameleon,
of them.
part electric drill.
Revit. Is it
Revit.
Revit?
It's got to be. Yes.
Part
Okay.
chameleon, part electric drill.
Yep. So
Revit.
So basically, the bigger trucks don't feel like they pull their weight when some of these bigger things occur, right? Like, basically, if the little tiny rep tool is out there helping them move trees, the rep tool is going to get crushed, right?
Correct.
So they kind of put them off to the side. Now you can see how that's all going to come to fruition. Obviously, the handwriting's on the wall, right? It's just a classic, very simplistic plot line, which is, hey, you're inadequate because you're small, but we know by the end of the episode that the small guy is going to save the day, which is in essence what occurs. Okay, very, very simple plot line, but I'm like, that's not what got me excited. What got me excited is that there's actually a lot of like different threads that are occurring throughout the show that actually make logical sense. So basically, this little rep tool has made friends with some dragonfly tools, and because he's fostered this relationship with the dragonfly tools and actually speaks their language, at the end of the episode, he is actually... So it seems like a subplot that's not going anywhere, but as the episode continued, you find out later that the antagonist, Dinotrux, hates these firefly things, and the rep tool uses it to its favor. There's another smaller little point, too. Like, basically, Dinotrux is trying to cause havoc for the good Dinotrux. And he's basically manipulating them, making them fall into a hole, right?
Yes.
But there's a tiny little point that I really liked, was that when one of the characters comes to the hole, they notice that there is actually a part of the hole that is not very solid, right? They're like, oh, this part of the hole is not very solid, right? They just kind of make this statement. I'm like, where is that going? Sort of like, I didn't understand why he made this relationship with the dragonflies, but at the end, it really showed that, there's a point A and a point B to the show. And then the same thing, they come across this hole, and they basically say there's some sort of part of the hole that is not very stable. And at the end of the episode, the bad who should say bad? Well, the Dinotrux guy, he actually goes out to the edge of that hole that's unstable and falls in. It makes sense, right? They actually put some writing effort into the show to kind of like connect the tissue and everything they do. So what I'm saying is that the show is very intentional. And I really like that. I like the intentionality of the show, and you were totally rolling your eyes at me. Okay, fine. The animation is amazing. It's great animation. It's fun to watch. It's entertaining. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would highly recommend this show. I would.
Okay.
All right. Please.
Here's where I struggle. And we've had this conversation before. When you're a parent, you don't have to like all the stuff that your kids watch. Right? I'm just saying in terms of you don't have to actually be entertained by it.
Like, okay, yeah, okay, all right. Let's be clear.
Because we're not the target audience.
Right.
As you say, this is for little kids.
Sure.
They aren't trying to entertain crusty old parent.
Right.
Who has moved on from this.
How can you be crusty about the show? It's not a crusty show. We watch a lot of shows that can make you crusty.
Yeah, I
And
suppose.
it's not this one.
I just found this to be so simplistic.
Right.
Everything was simplistic. I just thought, we can't do any better than this for kids. Really simple plot. I don't know what the point of this show is. I mean, yeah, there's sort of the standard moral lesson of don't count out the little guy because they're valuable too. That's nice. But
Oh, so you don't like that message? Okay.
I do like the message.
Okay.
It's just kind of a cliche, right?
Well, but okay, again, here's what's interesting, and it's maybe something that we forget. I think we're a little bit jaded when it comes to this type of plot because we've seen it hundreds of times,
Yes.
right? We actually see it in adult drama to this day, right? The guy who's the unexpected underdog ends up being the savior of the day. It happens all the time. But this, for kids, would be the first time they've ever seen that.
It just sort of
okay, quote unquote first time, but really, maybe their 10th time seeing it versus our 500th time.
It just sort of feels like an animated version of Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Oh.
Where we just sort of say to the kids...
Which was also a good toy.
Yes, it was. But I sort of feel like we go, hey kids, guess what? There's a good guy, there's a bad guy, they're going to fight. We don't really know why they're going to fight. We don't really know what the purpose is. We don't know why the bad guy is the bad guy. He's just bad and angry, and he's the antagonist. Because we have to have an antagonist. So.
Right.
I won't say it's bad. It's like a lot of shows that we've watched. It's clean. It's fairly innocent. It has some nice themes about teamwork and problem solving and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I had to say that the solve at the end was a little bit contrived. It doesn't make any sense. That's the only part of the show that I felt was weak, was they're basically building a ramp to get out of the hole, and they do it in seconds, which would have taken days, and it doesn't make any sense as to how they got out of the hole with the ramp. But
the magic of television?
Right. I mean... But what was, again, going back to why I liked it, was like everything seemed to link together, and that was the only thing that didn't make any sense. Because it looks like, to me, they put a lot of effort into trying to make everything make sense.
Yeah, I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. I don't know why. I don't know why. Because we've seen other shows that have similarly simplistic plots and characters, and for some reason, I don't know if it's just... the fact that you took a few different themes, you took a construction vehicle theme and you merged it with a dinosaur theme, and I don't know, it just felt kind of forced.
Yeah.
And I know that it's based on a book series and there are toys, and so again, we've talked about this before, that it feels a little bit like a commercial for the toy line to sort of say, again, here's the protagonists, here's the antagonists. Make sure you buy both so that they can smash into each other.
Like Rock'em Sock'em.
Right, like
Right.
Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
That's right.
It felt a little bit like a puppet show, which again is fine for kids, where you just sort of have, two puppets and they both have sticks and they just beat each other and the kids laugh and.
But that didn't. Okay, that's not fair. That didn't happen in this episode.
Sure it did. They were swinging their little tool things around, their little smashing into each other,
I guess.
I don't mean to be a buzzkill on your newfound.
Oh no, I mean we are bound to come out polarized on a few of these episodes. We can't always come up on the same page. But if again, I guess to me, and maybe and to be clear, sometimes I get caught up in some of the flair, and I felt like the show is pretty well done. I like the look. I mean, dare I say I like the look, but the content is for 5-year-olds, and I'm like, I gotta consider that I'm a 43-year-old dude looking at a 5-year-old's show, and again, you're right. All the things you said, it's clean, yeah. So, thumbs up. Dare I say thumbs up, but you know what I'm saying. I liked it.
I do. Yeah, and I look at it as it's fine. If people asked me, I'd say, yeah, it's fine. If you really need to burn half an hour, I might say pick a PBS show or something because there might be a little bit more of a educational bent to it, if that makes sense.
Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't go that way.
That's okay.
You know what? Here we go. If you agree with Dave, you should like Dave on Facebook.
Oh, that's what we're doing now? We're liking individual people on Facebook?
I don't know.
I thought we were a team.
We are a team. But if you like Dinotrux.
If you like Dinotrux. That's what we need. We need a poll to go along with each episode.
It's brilliant. We should do that. Totally.
Technology.
Yes. Well, there's so many things we could do for sure.
Yes. Speaking of Facebook.
Yeah.
You can like us on Facebook, Parenting Mistakes, and we'd love it if you'd leave us comments and suggestions and any feedback, positive or negative.
Yes.
If you like one of us or both of us. Or
were you upset
that
that you were not able to download our podcast for a week?
That's right.
Tell us.
You can tell us that. We can take criticism because we're grown-ups.
Right.
And we have kids.
Right.
We didn't make that up. Or you can follow us on Twitter, Parent Mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that is about it. Got anything else?
We are out.